Paul, thanks for taking the time to talk with me and have your audience, the Pope, about Local and Live. Perhaps we can start by telling us, what is Local and Live all about?
Local and Live is an annual 4-day festival that takes place over the August bank holiday weekend in Pantiles in Tunbridge Wells. It's a free event purely to showcase the local area's leading original artists, so from soloists to full bands.
And how many people perform over these 4 days?
The number of musicians is over 300, but that's all part of 100 acts. So you have obviously bands who comprise 4, 5, 6, 7 piece in numbers, and then solos, artists and duos and trios. But there's generally, at each year, there is normally just under 100 acts playing on 2 different stages. The first ever one, I think there were 10 bands, and we had 200 or 300 people attended the first event, and we probably had a budget of £200 for the whole event. And then since then, with a lot of hard work and help from people, and the event has grown to the point, it's just grown organically year upon year. But I would say from 2008, that's when it suddenly, when the event expanded to 3 days and then 4 days in 2009, suddenly it just really lifted up, and the bar was raised, so to speak, and it's become a major event now. So just taking back a second, when that kicks off at 7 o'clock in the evening on the Friday, there are certainly over 1,000 people there at 7 o'clock, but by the time it gets to 9 o'clock in the middle of the evening, there are 3,000 to 4,000 people around the bandstand.
How many people come over the course of the whole event, do you reckon?
Yeah, so that then continues on from the Saturday, and I think over the whole of the 4 days it must be close to about 20,000 people, because you have audiences who come for the afternoon sessions and then in the evening sessions. Some stay for both, but you can see the growth of the crowd from, I would say, from about 2 o'clock. You really notice how the numbers swell to all the way through to when the headline acts take to the stage, which on the main days tends to be about 9:30. Yeah, I mean, we're talking 4,000 to 5,000 people.
There's often some confusion as to who runs Local and Live. Is it just you? Have you got a team of volunteers? Is there a management committee? What is the structure behind the event?
Yeah, the event is, I put on the whole event myself in terms of the planning and the organisation and directing the event throughout the weekend. So there's no committee, it's just me, and but I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful team of support in the sense of volunteers who help me run the event over the 4 days, and performing duties from manning backstage to selling merchandise to helping out with the sound, all these various things, litter collection. I mean, there are so many jobs that need to be done to ensure.
How many volunteers took part last year?
We had 54, I think. Yeah, 54 volunteers spread over the 4 days. So they're all members of the local community.
And is that people who are committing to the whole weekend, or can people come and commit to just helping out for a short period of time?
Some people, really are so passionate about it, they will happily spend the whole day at the festival, or days plural. But obviously I appreciate everybody's busy, so any help is appreciated, and some people just do a few hours here and there. So it's up to the individual what they'd like to do, but we always welcome as much help as we can get. Local and Live takes me, I would say, between 350 to 400 hours a year to put together.
Yeah.
I also run the entire event during the weekend, and I would say it takes me probably an additional 50 hours post-event to deal with all the closing down procedures and tying the event off. It's a free event. The only revenues that we have coming in are hopeful profits from our bar and food concession, donations from the public, and any I say hopeful profits because you never know, like if we hopefully have some residual profit on merchandise and things like that. So we are completely dependent on funding and sponsorship, and to date the event's never made a profit.
One of the questions that often circulates, and it's one of those inevitable ones, is do you take a cut of any of the takings of the show?
No, I can categorically say I've never been in a position to do that, let alone whether I'd want to or not. So Local and Live makes a lot of money for the local economy, and I would say hundreds of thousands of pounds is generated as a result of the festival taking place in the Pantiles for the people in the Pantiles, as in the traders and the local businesses that benefit in that sense.
That are usually rammed all over that weekend.
Yeah, it's the busiest weekend of the year, and it's fantastic for them. But the event costs a lot of money to put on, and my goal each year is to work to ensure that it does. So when I say work, I just mean strive to raise funding and plan the event.
One of the things, let's nail it down now, how much does Local and Live cost to run each year?
Well, it varies each year, and the costs have gone up as
How much was last year?
Well, the total cost, so this is the gross outlay,
Yes.
it's over 30,000. It's I would say it's close to about 34,000
Okay.
in total.
I remember when you first told me that, I nearly fell off from the seat because I had appreciated that it would cost quite a bit, but not to that extent. What are some of the main costs that are involved in that? Because a lot of people wouldn't have a clue it costs that much to put on.
No, I'm sure a lot of people think that sounds a lot of money, but for a 4-day music festival, it's really not. And some of the major costs involved are security, for example, which probably makes up just under a third of that cost. So we are required to have a number of security personnel on the site for the whole festival and overnight as well. So that security bill is pretty high. It's just under 10,000. It's got to be close to that. To ensure the whole event as well is several £1,000s, and that means all the equipment needs to be insured, all the volunteers, the public, all the musicians. So that's a big bill. Other costs range from hiring in sound equipment. I don't own, a great big sound rig, as it were, or lots and lots of sort of speakers and monitors that we can use for 2 stages. So that has to be hired in from a company. Even though we get a good deal, we still have to hire it in. And then we need, for the main stage, we need sort of 2 engineers on site and a stage manager throughout the entire event. And we can only have professionals. We can't sort of compromise the event. It has to run exactly to time, and you need a professional team to come in and turn around 100 bands on time. And again, I get a really good deal, but it's several £1,000s just to have them on board. So that's just some of the major costs. And then we have other costs, from printing the brochure to making the festival CD to licensing. It's just a list as long as my arm. Well, the council have been helpful, over the years, very helpful in terms of, supplying barriers that we need at the festival, and obviously providing the license that, for us to put on the event. They have to approve that. In terms of actual funding, the event has never received any grant funding or from any lottery or council or any body, as it were. So that's obviously been a little bit frustrating, but I guess a lot of that may be due to the fact that with the current recession and the climate that we're all enduring, perhaps the budgets aren't there at the moment for the event to receive that. But I don't think that will be like that forever. I think that I'm hopeful that some funding will come through at some point, but just to date it hasn't happened. Yeah, I mean, you're right in the sense that there are different levels of sponsorship. Last year we were very fortunate to secure Marcus Study Business Group, who are a local organisation comprised of Tunbridge Wells magazine, Wessex Jewellers, NDGA Gymnastics and the Brewhouse Hotel. So that collective agreed to be a headline sponsor for the event. Now their financial investment almost paid for our security bill. Not quite, but without it, I doubt whether Local and Live could have happened, because we certainly we weren't looking too healthy in terms of sponsorship at that point. So thanks to them, I have to say that that really saved the day. Well, the 4-disc CD you're referring to costs per unit just under £2, I think, to make. So that's everything from having it compiled by a producer to then the pressing of the CD and all the artwork and the design and the print of the artwork. It's about £1.90.
And the brochure?
The brochure, I would say, is about the same in terms of a unit cost. So if somebody...
A fiver.
Yeah, so if somebody donated £5, then yeah, you know, £1 of that would be residual profit. But I think both are such quality products that actually if somebody donated £10, I still think they'd be... And I think when they see the actual physical item, they can tell it's been really well done, and the music is fantastic. I mean, you know, 90 tracks. You know, I mean, it's of great original music from local artists. So I think, you know, a £10 donation would be still good value. Yeah, I mean, there are different levels of sponsorship available, and outside of a small donation for a CD or brochure, the next step up is a £20 donation to become a local and live angel. And any member of the public or anybody could do that, and for their £20 donation, they would have their name printed in the brochure the following year and a free piece of merchandise to go with that as well. Moving up another level, the brochure really is the vehicle for advertorial sponsorship, and local businesses could take out a quarter-page advert for £100 and a half page for £150, a full page for £275, or a double-page spread for £500. And those are that would be the main way that a business could contribute to the festival. And we're lucky that, you know, certainly each year we do get a good number of businesses supporting the brochure. But if, for example, if we had 30 companies who all took out a double-page spread, I mean, that would almost pay for, you know, a massive chunk of the festival. So it's to try and get the brochure, I guess, as full as we can and well supported as we can would really help. Yes, I mean, the sooner the better, for two reasons. Just obviously my peace of mind that we have a business model that's going to survive and is not going to make a stunning loss. I don't have the kind of, I mean, I'm just not affluent in the sense that I could then say, oh, well, you know, if we don't get the sponsorship, I'll cover it. Like, I just don't have the resources to do that. So the sooner I know that we've got, you know, potential sponsors who are going to come in and help the event, it really does ensure that the event will happen. All I can do each year, because I'm so passionate about the event and I love local music, it's what I do, you know, it's all, you know, really sort of pour my heart into the event each year, and I have to plan as if it's going ahead. But there would come a point, obviously, where if the funding wasn't there, then I would, you know, the event couldn't go ahead. So the sooner the funding comes in, the better, is what I'm trying to say. And if we're in a position by spring and we've got some sponsorship coming in, that would certainly help. You know, it would certainly go some way to put my mind at rest that yes, this is a business model that will survive this year.
Let's be straight. That's not asking people to physically write a cheque for you here and now. It's more just to say yes, that they'll get behind you and to get in contact, and then you can explain how it all works. But yeah, that's what you need sooner rather than later. No,
definitely. Just, you know, if people show interest and they're willing to support what is now the town's biggest event, and it's a great thing to get behind, you know, local, creative, artistic music. And yeah, you know, if they were willing to pledge a donation, there's no time limit as such. I mean, we would have to kind of try and pull all revenues together a couple of months before the event, but there's the whole summer to sort of think about it. But people can get in touch with me at any time. You know, here we are at the end of January, and you know, any contact from any individual business at any point, really, all the way through to sort of June, would be fantastic. You know, this is not a village fete. This is a professional music festival, but it's free. But we need help to put that on, and that's what the appeal is, really, coming from me, saying, look, you know, get behind local and live. This is something that we should be proud of and supporting, and should hopefully continue year upon year. So. Yeah, the purpose of those, they started in March 2011, and I really wanted to keep the local and live name and brand going throughout the year, so it didn't just become this sort of, you know, once a year 4-day festival only, and limit it to that. And it's quite separate from my acoustic showcases that I stage at the Grade 80 Music Lounge and the Music Room and the Pheasant Tree. So the local live sessions are more of a full band experience for people, where they can see some of our leading headline acts from the festival in advance of the festival. It's to kind of whet the appetite in a fabulous venue, which is the Trinity Theatre. And any residual profits from those events, because they are ticketed, are then put forward to try and help eliminate some of the, the costs from the gigantic list that we're faced with every year for the festival. I can tell you that Goldie Reed will be one of the 4 headline acts this year. I made that announcement at the festival last year. I haven't yet chosen the other 3 headline acts, but I have a good idea, in my mind, who they will be.
And for the rest of us, those who just love the music, make a note of those 4 days at the end of August, and we're going to come and see what?
We're going to come and see a fabulous array of acts, nearly 100 artists, absolutely fantastic standard of songwriting and musicianship, and the dates of the festival are the 23rd to the 26th. So mark those in your diary and come and experience Local and Live, and you won't regret it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks. He then reached for the bar of soap, and I knew.
Right, I'm going to sit here and get my tea, so talk to me. How many days till Local and Live? I expect answers. I want rapid fire machine gun.
I don't know how many days there are.
You don't know how many days till Local and Live?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Aren't you the guru?
I'm the guru, but I could find out very easily. Shall I find out? There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 7 months away, isn't it? Basically. Just under 7 months away.
It is. You got the headline acts in place?
Hmm?
You got that turned off?
Yes, I'll turn it off now.
Put that down there as well. Right. That'll do. I just wanted to see.
Ask me anything you like, mate, and I'll do my best to answer it.